Good morning, America, and welcome to Maya's Politics and Survival Guide. And right now, I am going to talk to you a little bit about the Great Depression era, how I grew up. Uh, my mom was the one that actually grew up in the Great Depression era. Um, I was born years down the line, and well, I'm going to tell you a little bit of things about it. But first, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. I have lots of work to do today, so I'm going to try to go through this here, and I'm going to read from my notes that I have put down, so I can get through it easier. Um, so a lot of people don't realize that what's happening today in America is that this Republican White House and Congress and SCOTUS are trying to reset um, our country. They are willing to let everything shut down in the country in order to reset it and make everything go digital. Look it up, and you will see it. Look at some of my previous videos, and you will see it as well. I think I did one where it's called "It's Time to Wake Up Now, America," and you really need to wake up because they want everything to go digital, where they can control, track everything you do. They are literally trying to end the US currency in America. And so I don't know how that's going to work out, but a lot of people are going to lose everything. Now, what will happen if they literally shut down our country? And with this war in Iran and other um, countries where we are having issues with, like Cuba and Mexico and and Greenland and other places around the world, uh, this administration has isolated America. We no longer have allies in this country, none whatsoever. They will shut down our country by no longer paying off the debt it owes. They're going to cancel the U.S. debt, I believe, and from the economic channels that I've watched and stuff like that, that is the plan. And that way they can start at $0 balance. Well, all this money that we owe to other countries that invested in our country, that bought our debt, they will then no longer support us in any way, shape, or form. That means we won't get supplies. We will. We pretty much will. Well, you know what the guy in the White House did? He went bankrupt over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and now he's bankrupting America. That's what's happening. They're going to bankrupt our country. And and then they think they're just going to file for a bankruptcy and uh, and wipe the debt clean. That will not set well with all the other nations around the world that invested in our country, that we owe them a lot of money to. So as a result of that, we will actually end up in another Great Depression, which will be much worse than 1929. I always say that the Great Depression began in 1928 because all the signs were there in 1928 of what happened in 1929, and that led all the way through 1942. And and then we had World War II. Now, during 1929 through 1942, people struggled. Most people don't realize how many people died due to freezing weather, due to no medicines, due to no medical care. People on the side of the roads that are there with their furniture on the sidewalk because they have been evicted. They can no longer afford the rent. And if you think landlords are going to let you just live for free, think again. It ain't going to happen. You will become homeless. And and food lines, you can stand in food lines for hours for a cup of soup, a bowl of soup, or and a piece of bread or whatever. And if they run out of food and bread and stuff, then you stood there all those hours for nothing. That's how bad it will get in America. People will resort to whatever means possible in order to survive, especially if they have children to feed their children. And people will literally take what they need. They will fight the system then. Sadly, they don't know how to fight the system now. They're just taking it day by day by day instead of actually fighting the system that's destroying our country, our country. And a lot of things that people never realize is that the rationings that took place during the Great Depression, where you were limited to so much per week of food and you stretched it as far as you could. You were lucky if you got meat. The basic things you got was flour, potatoes, powdered milk, government cheese, stuff like that. Canned stuff back in the day. But if you wanted a meat product, a protein product, you had to pay for it. Um, and it was hard for a lot of people to be able to afford meat during the Great Depression. A lot of people bartered with one another. This person had sugar, this person had flour. So 1 cup of sugar for 2 cups of flour. That's how people survived. They began to work together as a unit in order to survive. A lot of people don't realize how tough it was during the Great Depression. And thousands of people died as a result because they had no medical care. The thing about today is that, and I will be doing my Great Depression videos of cooking and potato cakes, pasta, hot dog sauce, and stuff like that. Oatmeal is an essential food. Most people don't think that, but it truly is, because with oatmeal you can make cakes, I mean cookies, breads and cereals out of it. Cornmeal you need to bake cornbread, and you can make cornmeal cereal. A lot of people don't even know that. And I mean, it's just amazing at what you can do with the basics. And salt and pepper is an essential item. Sugar is an essential item. Now, a lot of people that had yards or a small yard, they began to grow food. The government actually gave them seed packets with instructions on how to learn to grow their own food source. A lot of people back then did not know how to grow food because they lived in cities. They didn't live in on farmland country regions. And the thing is, I know when I lived in the city in California before I left in 2008, when I lived there, I had a big picture window and I loved it and I made use of it. And I had a big coffee table in front of it and I put plates down, bowls down, and I put planters there and I grew food and flowers. These are the things people need to learn. We need to put classes back into school to teach kids about agricultural growing, teach them economics, teach them how to cook and clean. Basic things that kids are just oblivious to today. We need these classes reinstated, not Bible school, real classes. And now, if we do hit another Great Depression, one of the things I strongly recommend people to do is be prepared, because there will be people that will try and break into your homes to survive. Back in 1929 through 42, women were raped, brutally raped. Men were mugged and robbed. Houses were broken into. People did whatever they needed to in order to survive. So you need to be somewhat prepared to protect yourselves and your things and your belongings. And I strongly recommend that men get baseball bats. Get good, strong built baseball bats. Anybody coming into your house, you take a good old swing at their head, they won't do it again. And for the women, when you're out and about, you put a brick in your purse. You swing that up beside their head, they're going down. And you know who taught me those? My mom. She carried a brick in her purse. She carried her money in her bra. See, there's a way of protecting yourselves. You don't have to use extreme violence like a gun. If you have a gun, congratulations. But under this administration, they're coming for those too. Because you can't be armed if you want to revolt against your government. So they will be possessing those. And they know who has them and who doesn't. And so, but there are so many things that people need to do to, and the first thing they need to do is to wake up, America. Take your heads out of your asses, MAGA, and the Republican farmers. I've seen your videos. I know exactly what's happening to you. I read every day. I know you're struggling. I know you're pissed off. But guess what? You voted for it, and now it's at your doorstep. Congratulations. You voted for stupid. And that makes you just as stupid. Especially after everyone warned everyone if he got in office what he would do again. And guess what? He's doing it. He is destroying our country. It's not his country. He wants to be his. He wants to claim America as his land. He doesn't care if you live or die. After all, didn't he not call the soldiers at fault in World War II suckers and losers? And all you idiotic veterans out there voted for him anyway? See, that makes you stupid. He can sit there and tell you to your face you're stupid and you're suckers and losers, and you'll still vote for him. I hope we don't end up in another Great Depression. but I'm going to say we are. They're saying we're in the early stages of a recession. No, we're in the early stages of a Great Depression. When you go to the stores and you cannot afford to buy hardly anything. When my husband and I went to Costco, 4 days prior when we went to Costco, we bought almost everything identical because we're stocking up. It was $180+ 4 days prior. And yesterday, on May the 24th of this year, we bought pretty much everything identical, but we added a couple of things, just a couple. It was almost 400. Like I said, everything keeps going up, and they're not hiding it. This administration is not hiding their criminal activity either. They're doing it out in the open for you to see. They are literally rubbing it in your faces. This administration does not care if you live or die. They don't care if you starve. They don't care if you have medical. America needs to prepare. America needs to learn to fight back the system that is destroying us. And you have the power in your hand by voting blue 2026 of November and removing this administration, removing the Republican Congress all across the country. Once that is done and a new Congress is formed, then they will be able to literally remove this administration from the White House. That is our only hope. Don't give up, America. This is your country. It does not belong to the people in the White House. They are guests, undesirable guests in the White House right now. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. But don't ever give up on your country or your fellow American that stands beside you, not in front of you, beside you. We work together as a team. We fight together as a team. And it's imperative that everyone gets out and vote. Everyone. Don't shove it under the bed. Get out and vote. And save our country from this administration and the Republican Congress. Please click like, subscribe, and please leave a comment. God bless all of you. We can win this and we can take back our government. We have to fight together, side by side. God bless you.